The encounter. Elena Cross had negotiated treaties across 17 star systems, but nothing prepared her for Xerion's crimson skies bleeding into violet horizons. Her diplomatic shuttle shuddered as hostile fire erupted around them, rebel forces unwilling to accept the peace talks she'd come to mediate. "Mayday! Mayday!" her pilot gasped before the console exploded in sparks. The shuttle spiraled downward through Xerion's dense atmosphere, emergency systems screaming warnings she couldn't hear over the roar of failing engines. The crash threw her against the bulkhead, consciousness flickering as smoke filled the cabin. When she finally crawled from the wreckage, alien flora surrounded her, towering crystalline trees that hummed with an energy she'd only read about in xenobiology reports. Footsteps crunched through the strange foliage. Elena's hand moved to her sidearm as a figure emerged from the shadows. Tall, powerfully built, with skin like burnished copper and eyes that glowed amber in the dim light. His armor bore the insignia of the Xerion Guard, but something in his stance suggested he wasn't here on official business. "Human," he said, his voice carrying an accent that made her universal translator work overtime. "You should not have come here. I'm Elena Cross, diplomatic envoy to I Know Who You Are. I am Cain of the Mountain Clans. Your arrival has complicated everything. The peace negotiations were arranged months ago. Your government agreed." "My government," he interrupted, "does not speak for all Xerions. The rebels who shot you down believe humans bring only conquest, disguised as diplomacy." Elena straightened despite her injuries. "And what do you believe?" Cain studied her with those unsettling amber eyes. "I believe you are in grave danger. The rebels track wounded prey very well." "Then help me reach the capital. I have immunity under interstellar law." "Your laws mean nothing here." His tone carried finality. "But our laws do, and they require me to protect any who fall under my watch." "I never asked for protection." Something shifted in his expression. "On Xerion, some things are not asked for. They simply are." Distant howls echoed through the crystalline forest. Cain's hand moved to the curved blade at his hip. "The hunt begins. Stay close, Elena Human. Your survival now depends on understanding that choice and duty are not always the same thing." He turned toward the deeper forest, expecting her to follow. Elena hesitated, then realized she had no alternative. As she fell into step behind him, she wondered if she'd just traded one captor for another, or found something else entirely. The claiming ritual. Xerion rebels moved through the forest like shadows given form. Elena pressed her back against a crystalline tree, trying to control her breathing as their guttural calls grew closer. Beside her, Cain remained perfectly still, amber eyes tracking movement she couldn't see. "How many?" she whispered. 12, maybe 15. His hand rested on his blade. "Too many to fight directly." "Then we run." "No." Cain turned to face her, his expression grave. "Running will only delay the inevitable. They hunt in packs, and this is their territory." Elena's heart hammered against her ribs. "So what do you suggest?" Cain was quiet for a long moment, internal conflict playing across his features. When he finally spoke, his voice carried the weight of momentous decision. "There is one protection our law offers, but you will not like it. Tell me. The Rithak, the claiming ritual. If you accept my guardianship, rebel law forbids them from touching you. It would mean war between clans. Elena stared at him. Guardianship? What does that mean exactly? It means you become mine to protect, mine to guide, mine to... He paused, searching for words. The translation is imperfect, but you would be under my authority until the bond is dissolved. Absolutely not. Elena's diplomatic training kicked in. I won't trade my freedom for safety. A bone-chilling howl split the air, much closer now. Kane's jaw tightened. Then you will die free, and I will die having failed my duty. Elena looked into his amber eyes and saw no deception, only grim certainty. The sound of approaching rebels grew louder. Kane drew his blade slightly, preparing for a fight he couldn't win. Do it, Elena said suddenly. Kane's eyes widened. You accept? I accept your protection. Temporarily. Without hesitation, Kane drew his knife across his palm, then offered it to her. Elena took it with steady hands, making a shallow cut across her own palm. Their blood mixed as they pressed palms together. By mountain law and starfire, I claim guardianship of Elena Cross. Her safety is my honor. Her enemies are my enemies. Her choices flow through my judgment. The words settled over Elena like invisible chains. She felt something shift in Kane's posture, a new tension in how he looked at her. The rebels burst into their clearing just as Kane pulled Elena behind him, their joined hands still dripping blood onto the crystalline ground. The ancient ruins rose from Zerion's landscape like the bones of sleeping giants. Kane led Elena through passages carved from stone that seemed to absorb light, their footsteps echoing in chambers that hadn't seen visitors in centuries. How long do we stay here? Elena asked, exhaustion weighing down her words. Until the rebels lose interest, or until clan reinforcements arrive. Kane tested the stability of a fallen beam blocking their path. These ruins are sacred ground. Even rebels think twice before defiling them. Elena slumped against a wall covered in intricate carvings. And how long might that take? Days. Perhaps weeks. Weeks? Elena shot upright. The peace talks are scheduled to begin in 3 days. If I'm not there, if you are dead, there will be no talks at all. Kane's tone brooked no argument. Your priority now is survival. Elena bristled at his presumption. My priority is preventing a war between our species. Kane stopped working and turned to face her. And you think your individual presence is so crucial? Yes, actually. I've spent 2 years learning Zerion culture, studying your clan structures, understanding your honor codes. No other human diplomat has that background. Something flickered in Kane's amber eyes. What do you know of our honor codes? Enough to know you take them seriously. Binding yourself to protect me wasn't a casual decision. Kane was quiet for a moment, then resumed clearing debris. You are correct. The Rithok is not given lightly. Elena studied his profile as he worked. Then why did you offer it? Because... Kane paused, muscles tensing beneath his armor. Because when I saw you crawl from that wreckage, something in me recognized something in you. Strength, determination, honor. Heat crept up Elena's neck. You don't know me well enough to judge my honor. Perhaps, but I know enough. Kane turned to meet her gaze. You accepted the bond to save the mission, knowing it would cost you freedom. That is honor. Elena found herself studying the planes of his face, the way lamplight caught in his amber eyes. On my world, we call it duty. And what is the difference? Honor is personal. Duty is complicated. Kane moved closer, close enough that Elena could feel heat radiating from his skin. And what do you feel, Kane of the mountain clans? His hand reached up, fingertips barely grazing her cheek. Things I should not feel for one under my protection. Elena's breath caught. The bond forbids it. The bond makes it problematic. Kane's thumb traced across her cheekbone. A guardian who desires his ward cannot judge clearly, cannot protect objectively. Then, perhaps, objective protection isn't what I need. Kane's control cracked for just a moment. His other hand found her waist, drawing her closer. Elena, show me how Zerions express honor. Kane's response was wordless. His mouth found hers in a kiss that tasted of duty, transforming into something far more dangerous.
The choice. Elena woke to Kane's absence and the sound of distant weapons fire. She found him at the ruin's highest point, watching smoke rise from the valley below through the pre-dawn darkness. "They've found us," he said without turning. Elena joined him at the observation point. Rebel forces moved between the ruin's outer structures like hunting predators, systematic and patient. How many? 30, maybe more. Kane's jaw was tight. They brought clan hunters, professionals. Elena studied the tactical situation. There are other ways out of here. None that you could traverse undetected. Kane finally looked at her, and Elena saw something new in his amber eyes. Resignation. They know I am here. They know you are under my protection. This has become about honor. Whose honor? Mine. Yours. Our people's. Kane turned away from the valley. There is something you must understand about Zerion law. The Rethak bond can be dissolved. Elena's heart skipped. How? If the guardian judges the ward capable of self-protection, he may release the bond publicly. You would be free. And I would face the rebels alone, without the protection the bond provides. Elena stared at him. You'd die. Possibly. But you would live, and your mission would have a chance. Anger flared through Elena's chest. Absolutely not. Kane's expression hardened. It is not your choice. The bond gives me authority. The bond gives you responsibility. Elena stepped closer, hands fisting in his armor. And your responsibility is to both of us. My responsibility is to the greater good. Elena pulled him down until their faces were inches apart. Then let me fight beside you. You are not a warrior. No, but I'm not helpless either. Elena's voice dropped to a whisper. And I won't watch you die for my freedom. Something cracked in Kane's composure. His hands found her face, fingers threading through her hair. You make this harder than it should be. Good, Elena breathed. Easy choices rarely lead to anything worth having. Kane's mouth crashed against hers, desperate and demanding. Elena responded with equal intensity, pouring everything she couldn't say into the kiss. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. If we fight together, we probably both die, Kane said against her temple. And if we don't, you definitely die alone. Elena's hands traced the contours of his chest. Not acceptable. Kane carried her deeper into the ruins, to a chamber where ancient carvings depicted warrior bonds and eternal promises. They made love with the intensity of those facing an uncertain future, every touch a declaration, every kiss a vow. Afterward, Elena lay against Kane's chest, listening to his heartbeat and the sounds of approaching battle. Whatever happens tomorrow, this was worth it. Kane's arms tightened around her. Even if it costs us everything, especially then. The new bond. Dawn broke crimson over the ruins as Elena and Kane prepared for their final stand. They had chosen the central courtyard, where ancient stone provided cover and multiple exits offered tactical options. Remember, Kane checked Elena's borrowed armor one final time. Stay close, watch for crossfire, trust your instincts. Elena tested the weight of the Xerian blade he'd given her. "And you remember that I'm not fragile." Kane's amber eyes held hers. "I remember everything about you." The rebels came with the sunrise, moving in coordinated waves through the ruins. Kane met the first assault with controlled fury, his bladework precise and deadly. Elena flanked him, using her smaller size and speed to exploit openings he created. They moved like partners who'd fought together for years instead of days. When rebels tried to separate them, Elena covered Kane's blind spots. When overwhelming numbers pressed forward, Kane's strength created space for Elena's precision. "Behind you!" Elena called, spinning to parry a strike meant for Kane's back. The rebel's blade rang against hers, but her counterstrike found its mark. "Well done," Kane breathed, already engaging the next wave. The battle raged through the morning. Rebel forces pressed harder as their numbers dwindled. Desperation made them reckless, but desperation also made them dangerous. A rebel commander broke through their defenses, blade aimed at Elena's heart. Kane intercepted the strike, but the angle sent both warriors tumbling across the stone courtyard. Elena watched in horror as the commander's weapon found the gap in Kane's armor. "No!" Elena's cry echoed through the ruins as she launched herself at the rebel, her blade taking him through the chest as even Kane fell. Elena dropped beside Kane, hands pressing against the wound. "Stay with me." Kane's amber eyes focused on her face. "The bond." "Forget the bond. You're not dying on me." "Elena." Kane's hand covered hers, warm despite the blood. "Dissolve it. Claim your freedom." "I don't want freedom from you." Tears she hadn't allowed herself to shed finally fell. "I want freedom with you." Something shifted in Kane's expression. Wonder, hope, understanding. Then forge a new bond. Not guardian and ward, equals, partners. Elena felt the truth of it settle in her chest. Equals. The remaining rebels had withdrawn, unwilling to face the fury they'd witnessed. As clan reinforcements finally arrived, Elena helped Kane to his feet. "By mountain law and starfire," Elena said, her voice carrying across the courtyard, "I claim partnership with Kane of the Mountain Clans. His choices are mine. His future is mine. His honor is mine." The words created something new between them, a bond that belonged to neither human nor Xerian law, but to something greater. Months later, as Elena stood before the Joint Council presenting the first human-Xerian cooperation treaty, Kane beside her as both protector and partner, she realized that sometimes the most important negotiations happen not between species, but between hearts. Their love had become the foundation for peace between worlds, proving that the strongest bonds are chosen, not claimed.